actually be used as weapons.
They probably do use them as weapons too.
Pretty sure I've seen somebody get hit with a fucking walkie-talkie in the hood.
Yo, in the hood, man.
Talking about friendly neighborhood, Spider-Man is one of the greatest films I have ever seen in my entire life. This Spider-Man in particular.
Oh, okay.
No Way Home. No Way Home. Which, I mean, of course, is also like, you can't even argue that it's the best Spider-Man film ever made.
Yo, Ches, why are you turning into the Hulk right now? See this shit? Some Bruce Banner ass shit.
Yeah,
I'm fucking radioactive. I
record your skin
from
is glowing green, and you can only see this if you're watching us on YouTube.
Exactly. So, listeners, if you're out there listening, you know, it's been a minute since our last episode. We're back, and obviously Spider-Man brought us fucking back. But we recommend go on YouTube right now to see Ches becoming the Hulk. And as always, right, I am Miguel. We are the Legion on Zoom, joined as usual with our awesome co-host Legionnaires. We got Rod, we got Ches, the Hulk, and also Merry Christmas, you know, Feliz Navidad, you know, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, all of the holidays just happened, man. You all had a good time?
I mostly just confined myself to my room and watched TV and smoked weed.
That sounds like a fucking great holiday, man.
Well, thanks to this COVID resurgence, like my nieces and nephews couldn't even like visit, so it was pretty like low key this Christmas.
Yeah, man. I for people listening, watching out, like if you're new, welcome, right? but like if you're all in New York City, and I left, I got a chance to go home for the first time in years because of the pandemic in Tijuana, Mexico. And as I was leaving, fucking New York City was going to hell with what I was reading about the pandemic. Yeah. And and
the
then
Omicron.
Omicron.
Our thing is that, like, I feel like pandemic or not, I still would have just confined myself to my room and smoked weed.
Yeah, I think we played some video games, right? We played Streets of Rage 4.
Facts.
I've been beasting on. But anyway, let's come back to what brought us together here.
Fucking Spider-Man.
Yep.
That's
nice.
People go on YouTube and you can see one of Miguel's OG manos, which is a genuine Mexican bootleg that was imported into the United States. Think about that for a second.
Well, actually, originally it was exported from the U.S. into Mexico because I went back to my childhood home, right? And I was able to go through my box of toys that I've had that my mom's been so kind enough to save. And this Spider-Man was a Spider-Man I fucking loved as a kid. If you're seeing it online, on YouTube, if you're not, go to YouTube right now to check it out. But I remember loved it because it had like all the foot was moving, the arm, the wrist se mueve. It's that all that.
What year is on the bottom of the foot? Is that the year?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's definitely when they could do all the cool poses and shit.
When I was getting to that Marvel Legends era,
right?
All their articulation.
Word for sure. I was low-key a little bit disappointed when I saw it again because in my mind I thought like it was such a great, mono like action figure, like it was so good. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's not like the Marvel Legends one. It's like it's pretty basic, but it got me a lot of childhood memories. And so I said for today's episode and also just for life out here in New York, I had to bring it back with a bunch of other ones too, just a bunch of random like a few Iron Mans.
You know what I noticed?
Hulkbuster, man. Look at this shit.
I had that one.
Yeah. You know what I noticed about your Spider-Man? That the webbing is not faded at all. Usually on Spider-Man toys, because like people rubbing it and stuff, it comes off. That shit is like on there. Like,
that's a good point. Yo, and this toy is easily 30 years old.
That's crazy. That looks like almost brand new. Like you just bought that like a year ago. Some shit and played with it.
Like I probably got this when I was 8 or something. And
that's wild.
Yeah,
that's crazy, and it looks pretty good.
This is great. One of my favorite ones I was very excited to bring back. Age of Apocalypse Iceman.
That is dope.
Yeah,
that's pretty dope.
So dope. And this still looks as good. Like this does look like fuck. Like I don't know. Like not even Marvel Legends has made this a new version of this. But yeah, those are my that was my holiday. Being at home, eating lots of fucking tacos, watching actually some Hawkeye Marvel movies, and revisiting all my action figures while my wife just watched me do it.
Nice. And that tour of Manos was exclusively for the YouTube audience.
Exactly.
Not the people that listen. That wasn't for you. Unless you're willing to step your fucking game up in how you consume us and go to YouTube and get a full experience.
Exactly. But so these are, American monos, we call them monos in Espanol for people listening, just like action figures. So they went from San Diego to Tijuana, enriched my childhood, and now I imported them back into the United States of America to enrich my adulthood. This is so cool.
Right. And probably made in China, probably.
Oh yeah, most definitely. These
all around the world.
Those toys are a monument to globalization and modern American manufacturing. Damn, that's a cool Ben Grimm. That's one from the cartoon, right?
Yeah, I think so. But it's just like it's like also comic book accurate too. Like, I don't know, this is a dope ass thing. But yes, I know. I guess let's not bore the audio listeners anymore.
Bro, I'm enthralled, yo. I fucking love action figures.
Or we can show them what they're fucking missing if they were go to fucking YouTube and watch us. Join the party, hang out, watch us.
Right. And also, like, all the more reason, if you haven't followed us on social media, you should follow us. Because as I was revisiting these when I was, over the holidays, I was posting photos and little videos of the action figures to our Instagram. So follow us at Legion on Zoom, on Instagram, and also on Twitter for a witty banter, witty comments.
And Facebook for the boomers.
Yes, exactly.
And extremists. We don't judge people.
Word, QAnons, all
exactly. Them. But if you happen to be into comics and into that, still check us out. It's pretty cool.
But gentlemen, No Way Home. All right. So this movie is like, since Endgame is the biggest movie, right? And it's a great way to end the year too. Because because of COVID, we all kind of became shut-ins. Chez would have done it anyway. But we got blessed because we got Spider-Man, but that actually came out before Christmas or on Christmas?
The before, because on the 16th, I think it came out.
Then we get Hawkeye after. I forget the timeline, and then like the Matrix, which we probably won't review yet.
Right, I haven't seen it yet.
We've all seen it. Okay,
not yet.
We have thoughts.
Oh no, wait! I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Everyone dies, Miguel. Just so.
All right. Well, they had already died at the end of the third movie, so I'm not that surprised. It's like, we'll see what happens.
But dude, this fucking movie, as I was saying earlier, it's literally the best Spider-Man movie ever made. Just because the scale, the ambition, the innovation, the daring, like that shit checked all the boxes. It's crazy. They tried shit. They surprised us. It's the first time I've seen so much shit that's in a movie straight up not in the trailer, like edited out. And should we say what that part was now, or should we save it for the discussion? Spoiler alert here.
Major, exactly.
I might even put it twice.
Yeah, no, and I do really. This movie is such an epic movie. It's such a great movie. It makes you better as a person. So if you haven't seen it, we're very concerned for you right now because it's already been a couple of weeks since it came out. I don't know what's going on with you in your life, but whatever's going on in your life, watching it will make it better. So go watch it now and then come back to listen to us now geek out about it.
It's just been a week though, right?
I mean,
it's been too long. It's been.
Oh, a little over a week.
It's a little over a week.
Something like that. Like, yo, go to your bank and take out a loan for the tickets if you have to. Like,
what?
Hey, it's that good, man.
Hell yeah! Sell your kids.
Like, I would never suggest committing crime, but the ends justify the means, and I'll leave it at that. This movie changes lives. Like, I'm sure there's people that went in there with illnesses and came out cured. Miguel's a doctor. He can attest to that.
Mm-hmm. No. It's incredible. The data that's coming in now from the effects it has on COVID, reducing risk. It's fantastic. So we highly recommend.
And shit. People went like, I saw Spider-Man.
Some people have to show the vaccine card. You can really now just show your ticket stub from the movie. You're like, all right, you can go into the bar restaurant.
Facts. This is how great this movie is. And it starts with a flashback of the second movie, which it feels like happened a long fucking time ago. So I enjoyed that, like tiny mini recap because they kind of just told you what happened.
Actually,
Mysterio.
yeah, as that was happening, I was actually thinking like I'd like other movies to do that. You know, to have like a little
Like
recap.
that'd be nice. Like, but no, that's how they get you. So you have to rewatch shit at nauseum, which is like a sport for Rod. So it's like they try to get people like that way. But I'm hoping this changes things because I really appreciated that. And it starts right off the bat with fucking Mysterio, who was brilliantly played, even though I didn't like the fact that they used Mysterio by Jake Gyllenhaal. And he outed Spider-Man, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's not exactly how it happens in the comics, right?
No, in the comic books, no, in the comic books, when Spider-Man reveals his identity, he does it willfully during Civil War, and that's when he does it teaming up with Iron Man, because he joins Iron Man's side for the Superhero Registration Act, and then reveals his identity, then regrets it almost immediately, and joins Captain America's side. But this is a whole other way it's going.
But it's crazy, like how much they were able to displace that and still make it work just as well. Or like, do you prefer how it was used in the comics, or do you prefer how it was used in the MCU?
Oh, that's a good question, Rod. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like it's its own beast. Like, especially this movie. This was a very like cinematic experience.
Word.
Especially this movie. Like, it's fucking sick the way it tied in years of Spider-Man films. But let's go back to the beginning, right? And Ches, you said like you weren't happy that they used Mysterio.
Yeah, I mean, but I've said that before. Like, out of all the Spider-Man villains, I just always felt like Mysterio was like the most trash. Like,
okay, but like, that's what's great about it, is that Spider-Man has such a rich rogues gallery. I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, has Batman or Spider-Man had more live action villains?
Damn,
and I think it might be Spider-Man, right?
And it might be Spider-Man now, because actually, from what you were saying, yeah, because I recently read an interview by Kevin Feige, you know, our Lord and Savior, who said that when they were talking about the reboot for Spider-Man, when they got the rights, sharing the rights, one of the big things they wanted to do is they wanted to really make it fresh and do nothing that's been the same. And so one of the main things they were like, we're not gonna bring back any of the villains that they've seen, because even Green Goblin's been done twice, or 4 times, right? We never saw Norman Osborn in the Amazing Spider-Man films from Andrew, but we saw Harry Osborn, and in the Toby we saw both.
See Norman though dying, right?
Well, right, but we didn't see him as Green Goblin and like proper Norman Osborn. And so they wanted to like, let's go with some of the other characters. So that's why the Vulture was so fucking dope.
Oh yes, I love that. I fucking loved Michael Keaton's Vulture.
And I like Mysterio. Like, I like Mysterio. I thought I loved it. You know, like from what Rod says, it's rich. You know, and what I liked it also because I felt like it wasn't until the Far From Home that they could do Mysterio well, because they need the graphics. This whole thing is the illusions and CGI, live action CGI. Like, you know, I couldn't have seen that probably back in the day. You know, would have been really crappy. So I don't know. I liked them. But anyway, the movie starts with freaking reminding us that the world knows who he is. And right when he's on top of, like, he's like right in front of Madison Square Garden, and like MJ's there, like, oh shit.
And of course, the person that jumps at this is Jonah Jameson, who is brilliantly played by, what's his name?
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, facts. And I love how throughout the movie, because he starts ranting about Spider-Man from his basement, and this is a quick shout out to his business acumen, because he ends up in a professional studio pitching his own vitamins all off of I'm assuming this is all his network shows is anti-Spider-Man propaganda, like straight up. I don't think he talks about other shit, like, well, at least in the MCU, because the Daily Bugle is like a pretty big tabloid in the comics and shit, and they cover a whole, but I feel like this Jonah Jameson is more obsessed with Spider-Man than the one in the comic books. But
I don't know if he's more. I think he's just as obsessed. I don't know. I love fucking J. Jonah. And J.K. Simmons, wonderful job playing as him. I actually thought that they dropped. This is my one only. Well, I have 2 complaints about the movie, but it's fucking perfect though. The movie. One complaint was, you know, we'll get into it more about the multiverse, right? And obviously how everybody got brought in. But I loved how everybody recognized that they look different, right? Like, when Doc Ock sees Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Tom Holland, he's like, oh, that you're not Peter Parker. They recognize different people. I think I would have loved that J. Jonah is the constant across the multiverse.
That would have been dope.
It would have been great that Toby see, like, that's your J. Jonah. He looks exactly like my J. Jonah, like, and that and even Andrew would have said, like, if we haven't seen him there, but imagine, like, that would have been J. Jonah's the constant.
And he's a constant in every way, like the amount of hatred. He's perfectly constant. That would have been dope.
There's no variance. No variance for J. Jonah. They're all.
Yo, speaking of constants, fucking Stan Lee. I missed his cameo. Like, this is like the first. Well, I'm sure there've been other Marvel releases since he passed away. About a year and a half ago or so?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, more than that actually. It's been like what?
I think like 3 years now. I think.
No, yeah, 3 years.
I'm on it.
But I feel like him, like, in some way, if he would have just made like an appearance in this and just been like the ultimate, because he appeared in the Amazing Spider-Man, right? I don't remember.
Yeah. Oh wow, Stanley died and passed away in 2018.
Damn.
Wow, that was a while.
Although, even though I did miss his cameo, I do give props to Marvel for being tasteful about it and not trying some CGI shit. You know what I mean? Like, at least allow him to rest in that regard. I'm sure they're monetizing him in other ways after his death, which is dark and creepy as fuck. But aside from just his creations, in mad ways we don't know, but at least they didn't try that, which I kind of enjoyed that. Like, like, I missed it, but I'm happy they didn't try that.
Right, for sure.
The one thing that and I believe is also different from the comics, along with the identity review of Spider-Man, is in the comics, J. Jonah Jameson, like, was he as like visceral towards him after he found out? Or because at this point he considered Peter Parker almost like a son, right? In the comics, they've had like a long-standing, like I guess adversarial father and son relationship. Did it transpire the same way on both sides, or that part I'm not clear on?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. I don't remember how well it goes in the Civil War.
He faints.
He faints. Yes,
because he's like dating Aunt May or some shit.
Shit.
Isn't he engaged to Aunt May at this time?
Or really? Dating or something like that.
Dating, yeah.
Or no. His father was dating and it was engaged too.
Yeah, I was thinking for a second. I'm like, wait a second, because Aunt May's a lot older in the comics. Right. But while we're comparing like the movie and the comic, how about just like the movie and the movie? Because those are two different J. Jonah Jamesons in the multiverse, although they both look exactly like J.K. Simmons.
And they act almost the same, I guess, yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? I got confused. The movie and the movie?
Because like those are two different, in the multiverse, those are two different J. Jonahs, right? The Tobey Maguire one and then the Tom Holland one. Well, yeah. There's like two different J. Jonahs.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I was saying. But they were pretty constant. No, I think the only difference is that the Tobey Maguire J. Jonah was better off from the beginning because he already owned his like proper newspaper. Mm-hmm. And in No Way Home, he's starting as a like, just like an internet kind of YouTube thing. But as the thing progresses, we see him have like a full set and shit, right? Like, and more news media, like TV news rather than print news, as in the old school Tobey Maguire films, right?
Well, yeah, no. So the reason I was asking is because the J. Jonah Jameson from the Tobey Maguire movies, he never found out that Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man.
Right.
So
yeah, you're right. Because in the movie No Way Home, right, right when he we see him, right? Isn't that what happens? Right? He kind of helps out a little bit, Peter later on, but he didn't know Peter like that before, though. I'm getting confused now, actually.
No, because that's the thing. Because I feel like, and this is jumping a little bit towards the end, but it's like by the end of this whole journey, he ends up becoming the Peter Parker that would be close to J. Jonah. You get what I mean? Because of the way like the movie ends, is like he ends up becoming more like the Peter Parker that's going to be a photographer.
Yes.
Yada. So like it kind of comes full circle. But we'll get to that. The shit that was crazy to me is how the people of New York accosted Spider-Man. Like, do you guys think that it would happen like that in real life, or everyone would be like afraid of him and shit? Because I wouldn't know how to react if I saw him in the street.
I think so, especially because people were loving Mysterio, no? 'Cause remember,
Yeah.
people believed that he was a multiversal hero, right? They didn't. Nobody, I think, not even up until the end, nobody really believed that the Spider-Man was telling the truth. So they just felt, and I feel like having Jay Jonah in the background, we don't know how active Jay Jonah's been, right? Because we know from Civil War that Spider-Man was already active with his crappy suit. That's how Iron Man found out about him. So we don't know if during that time Jay Jonah was already like he's a menace, you know, and some people trying already like easily seeing that, we're like, oh fuck that guy. But it's fucked up. Like they turned like that.
Word, yo. And damn, there's a QAnon version of the MCU because this is pointing to a group of people. And do you know that their beliefs are constant? Where like they think Thanos was right, they think Mysterio is right. You know what I mean? Like they go on those messages, like fuck. Because at some point you see it in the bathroom. I forgot what part of the movie it is that like Mysterio was right or some shit.
Yeah.
But then after his identity is fucking gets out there and revealed, the next thing happens. He starts getting sued and legal troubles and all this shit, which leads to the first big fucking surprise of this movie. And it's something that was getting super speculated. We get Charlie fucking Cox. Woo!
Yo, everybody in my theater when I saw it, like just like clapped and was woo, you know, like come on, man, it was so good. I will say, I believe I was the first one to clap in my theater because I think they show us just like the first, like they show us like that he's holding his cane or something, and I'm already like, I know who that fucking is. Yes.
Did you actually say that? Like, I know who the fuck that is. Like we were in the movie theater.
A little bit, not that loud, but I got there. It is a movie theater. I wanted to respect.
Sir, please exit the theater.
One more time, we're gonna ask you to leave, sir. I'm like, but that's fucking Charlie Cox, man.
Get him.
The first of several monster cameos.
Facts, but
this was the ultimate cameo movie. I feel like there is no movie I don't think that can compare to this shit.
I mean,
maybe Ready Player One had some cameos like with King Kong and all that crazy shit.
And actually, with that, like I'm wondering, are all the other quote unquote cameos actually cameos? Because like cameos is just like what Charlie Cox did, right? Like that's the one thing I was a little bit bummed about, that I kind of wanted him to be involved in the story. But I'm okay with them not, because it was really just a cameo. Like he just showed up to magically, like, I got your legal problems. You're good, Peter Parker. No worries. And like, look, I still have my powers. Like we're catching
a brick when they threw it through the fucking window.
And I love it. It was like,
them.
Like everybody's like, how did you do that? He's like, I'm a good lawyer. You know, like that was beautiful fan service. But everything else, though, they're part of the story. You know, you couldn't have it without Toby, without Andrew, without fucking Willem Dafoe. Like, oh my fucking God. Like,
Willem Dafoe, Jesus Christ.
Bro, he's
to win like all the awards.
Yo, he's aged like fine wine.
Well, I think they might have used the CGI on his face too, the way they did with Alfred Molina, eh?
Or he's fucking perfect.
I like the Ches one better.
Straight mouth, exactly.
All right.
And mind you, I'm still shocked at the fact that I've been calling him William Dafoe my whole life, and his real name is Willem. I've been on that shit for a minute.
He's not American, right? Is he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yo, you imagine he's not
European or some shit?
Yeah. He's an American actor. Yeah. He was born. Let me see where.
They call him a Willem.
Yo, he's American as fuck. He was born in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Damn.
Oh, actually, his name is William James Dafoe.
Thank you. Fuck. That shit seems
makes a lot more sense now.
Who the fuck is Willem? Like
he named himself Willem.
Yeah. Because that's his like, como se dice, pen name or whatever pseudonym. No, it says Willem in quotes, but it's William James Dafoe.
Which is weird because a pen name is supposed to be like a significant difference from your name. That's just he literally like he spelled it phonetically. Like what the fuck? His pen name is his name, like that's. But anyway, the man is beautiful. He's a national treasure. I'm happy we get to claim him. Yes.
Yeah, and for all the fans, I know we'd love to see him as the Joker, right? It makes so much sense, but we don't have to ever see him as the Joker because he just nails this dastardly evil villain with Green Goblin. He does it fucking twice. He did
Oh my
it
god.
back in 2001, I think, or 2002. 2002.
2001, I think.
Or
Actually,
one.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but yeah.
And then he
Yeah, yeah.
came back fucking 20 years later, like boom, bitches. Just
You, you know
Yeah,
what I never
2002.
understood?
2002 was the first Spider-Man film.
Talking about Willem Dafoe and obviously his character, Norman Osborn. I never understood because I've never really seen this on any other character in cartoons. Why they gave him and Harry like red hair with waves
is that John Romita? Is
in
he
the
the one
cartoon
that
on
designed
Fox?
that?
No,
was that?
Wasn't that also like Ditko? Didn't
Damn,
wasn't
I
that like
don't know.
old
Deep cut
school? Like
Spider-Man fans. Yeah, with the waves.
Yeah, I was always like,
Like they're half black and shit.
Yeah, it was so signatures. Like, why is their hair like?
no, yeah,
wavy?
I'm looking at right now images from back in the day. Like Steve Ditko,
Steve Ditko
drew him like that. Both
Man,
with the waves.
yeah.
in the Osborne house, you sleep with a do-rag.
Yeah, on fleek.
Those of you who are not from New York or from any other urban area, just Google a do-rag and the effects on hair. It's a nice effect. But yeah, I always found that shit a little bit weird. But I loved his portrayal as the fucking Green Goblin. I love the duality, even though I feel like this time around it seemed particularly unstable compared to the other times. Like he lost it. Like he was split down the middle type shit, as opposed to like enjoying it in past iterations.
Bro, and I fucking love that because I felt that was even more comic accurate Green Goblin because he's fucking insane. And like nothing against Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. No, it was great.
Yeah.
It was golden. But like this, I think they took it to the next level of just insanity. I loved Green. My only, I would love to see him again as Green Goblin, like just terrorizing fucking Spider-Man. Any Spider-Man, like I don't care, just terror.
Yo,
again.
it's fucking brilliant what Sony did, man.
Yeah,
And also, this movie is like the beginning of a reboot, right? Or it is in and of itself a reboot, right?
really?
Because like
How so?
In a way, yeah.
so like after this ends the trilogy, right? The MCU trilogy. The
Yeah.
next trilogy that they're gonna, possibly make. This is speculation, of course. It's gonna be like a Sony directed. I mean, of course, they directed this trilogy with I forget the director's name.
With John Watts.
John Watts, but like the next one they're gonna do with this like reset because basically Doctor Strange is Deus Ex Machina, right? He comes in and he does
Facts.
a spell that reboots the universe for Peter. And now Peter can, like I said, if you go back to my treatments and Into the Spider-Verse, I said they were going to do this. They were going to do a massive reboot and I thought they were going to start the Spider-Verse in this, but they went full balls deep Spider-Verse in this movie. Although
that.
I still think we're going to get like a proper larger one in the future, with Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales. That's still going to happen.
That'd be wild, yeah.
And they're gonna plant the seeds for that one, beginning with the next trilogy, whenever Tom Holland and Sony starts that, where we can finally see, Harry, that Norman Osborn, Gwen Stacy, and these characters that we missed out on in the first trilogy because they was kind of like confined within the MCU. It had to like play nice in that world, but now, like contracts have kind of ended and we'll see what's going to happen with the web slinger next, though.
Nah, but from my understanding, though, like this movie is very much a Marvel movie as well. Like, yeah, we'll give Sony props, but like this is obviously we could feel the hand of Kevin Feige all throughout and just Marvel fucking epicness. Because come on, like, because Sony, I still don't really trust them. No, like they've given us two crappy Venom films,
yeah,
and now they're giving us Morbius, which we'll see what happens with that. But this is a mix of but the next trilogy that they're already working on is another combo Marvel Sony, and because which we'll go into detail of how it's a reboot, especially with the end. But Spider-Man is still within the MCU. He didn't leave, so he's still there.
Yeah, I got that part wrong.
Yeah. So no, exactly. That was go check out Into the Spider-Verse.
I did call Andrew Garfield saving Mary Jane though. I know y'all peeped that. You're like
MJ, Michelle Jones in this universe.
What if this is the first quadrilogy? Instead of a trilogy, it's just 4 movies and it's not a reboot. But anyway, like we'll still find out when the next movie comes out. Because yeah, exactly. Think about that.
Nah, but from what I think, they're gonna make a trilogy again. I hope it's with Tom Holland again. And the other hot news out there, speculations, is that we might get a third Andrew Garfield Spider-Man film.
I've heard.
Fucking dope would that be?
I've heard those rumors.
And I already feel, with talking about, you were saying about the Spider-Verse, I feel if we get another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man film, the third one, have Gwen Stacy from another universe who's Spider-Gwen show up, and you know that would be fucking fantastic. I would love that. Like that, I want Andrew to be with Spider-Gwen, not Tom Holland, you know, because to give him, you know, some other additional closure from fucking up, not saving Gwen.
Dude, I'm not gonna front at that moment. I almost cried. Like
I cried,
dude. That's no, because I had cried a little bit before that. I think because I laughed, I cried. Like it was a wild fucking ride. You know, something that has me super excited that John Watts, I believe, is also directing the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. So yes, I had no idea who this man is. I tend to not remember director names unless it's Michael Bay. But it's like, dude. That movie is gonna be insane because after this, they might just give him $1 billion budget, and I think that's the minimum required to make an appropriate Fantastic Four movie.
Hell yes, and we, you know, that's a great point. And now we just saw John Watts was able to manage handling science-y and magic, cosmic stuff with this movie. So it's like, because that's going to be the Fantastic Four. And so he gave us the best Spider-Man trilogy to date, you know, because Sam Raimi's last movie wasn't the best. And so I trust John Watts with everything to do a good Fantastic Four film.
He might have just scored his own trilogy with the Fantastic Four,
probably
because of the success of this movie.
If they can keep him, which they hopefully will, because he's going to be the one to demand top dollar. You feel me?
And they have so much money that's not an issue. That you're like, how much do you want? Just keep it going. Like that's it. That's it. And then they'll bluff him into like human nature and like into inner conflict. Like I'm not going to be too greedy, but I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like they have so much money that even greed isn't an issue. Like it's scary to people, the amount of money they have. So they could just afford to keep them.
Give them all the money.
Dude, think about the amount, like Spider-Man, one movie grossed $1 billion for the MCU
during the pandemic.
During the third wave, I think that would be right. Second wave was Delta, and then third wave is Omicron. It's like, and still, oh my god! But before we go on more with our speculation, so like just to wrap up, like the beginning part of the movie, right? Because we got all this shit going on. Charlie Cox, you know, saved the day with Peter's legal problems. Right, and then he goes to Strange because then he gets thinking about like, oh shit, maybe because I felt this. I love this because this was key Spider-Man Peter Parker mythos, right? Because he saw how his fucking because people know that he's Spider-Man, it's affecting the people he loves, right? Like you know, and because with both Ned and MJ don't get into MIT or seemingly any college. I don't know what was happening there. Because like MIT crazy, is like, bro. Yo, MIT is high. I was about to say that MIT, like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Yo, I'm like, you guys were all so confident that you guys would get into MIT. I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's hard. Like, statistically speaking, not all three of you would go to MIT. Like, come on now.
Facts. So this would be like the smartest MJ.
Yes.
Like yes. I don't remember an MJ going to fucking MIT or being a scientist or an engineer. Do they ever say what this one does? Or
yeah. The MJ in the comic books, it's like the Sam Raimi one. She's like a model and an actress.
No, but I mean this MJ, our MJ.
She's in high school, so you know she's
going to MIT though, so she has to have something picked out. Like, do they ever discuss like her being good at science or engineering in any way? Or
I think they go to one of these like special schools that we have here that's like you know science, like it's a science type focused school,
like a STEM school and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like isn't like there's like a Bronx Science or something too, right? Like I don't know, but anyway, but it's like something. So
it's like something STEMmy. But yeah, but still, like all three of them are going to MIT, and technically all three of them did get in low key, if you think about it, which is fucking nuts. They're fucking brilliant,
man. But what do you guys all think about that first half? Just with him then going to Strange to fuck up the thing up until there, I had already cried, I think, just from joy at that point. How do you guys feel?
I didn't cry yet. I was into it. It was crazy to find out. Okay, we saw another one of the effects of Thanos' snap because Strange was blipped for 5 years. So by default, Wong became the Sorcerer Supreme. Shout out to, destroying the white patriarchy. And by default, but that was great. And there was a fucking snowstorm, which just showed like, hey, them having fun with effects. That was pretty dope.
Yo, I felt that was a big like that was huge. I felt for like the MCU just to drop that knowledge that like, oh, actually Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme, not Strange, like in a passing sentence. Like, what? But that makes sense, right? He was fucking split out of existence for 5 fucking years, man.
He came back on fleek. Why is he the most like pristine looking human on screen? Like, I'm like, what? This guy looks like almost an alien.
I kind of feel like his goatee is even overdone to the point that like it's, mind you, Tony's shit has angles and shit, but I see it as like him being such a genius and complex, he can't have a standard lock on his face. But it's like, I feel like his shit is just like 1440p definition sharp. Like the hair is coiffed, like
OD. Everything about him is 1440 DP, whatever the fuck.
1440 DP is some.
It'll be on like some Avatar shit that they're gonna have to make better cameras. To capture.
They need to.
Because I'm sure we're missing part of his epicness, man. His beauty. God damn that man.
But yeah, facts. But he is OD magical, so you could kind of like attribute it to that. He probably has a spell to hold us back from seeing him completely.
Yeah, where people aren't ready. But yeah, I agree with y'all. This is one of the best Marvel movies. I don't know about the best Spider-Man movie yet. I don't know if I can say that.
We should get into that. We should wrap in with top 3 Spider-Man films, but just let's save it.
No Way Home. No Way Home.
My small critique is that the movie was kind of rushed because there was a lot of heavy lifting to do in this movie. So much so that at the middle, or what seems like the middle, when so Peter confronts these multiversal villains. Eventually, we know that fucking Norman Osborn is out there. We know Dr. Octopus is out there from the Raimiverse. And then, spoiler alert, Aunt May gets killed, right? I feel like that could have been a good ending for a movie. Just have it, just have that. And then have another movie be, this is what I thought was going to happen. I thought they were going to like build to the epic, 3 Spider-Man shit. But they kind of just did it real quick in this movie, which was a pleasant surprise because, like Chet said, we didn't know that this was going to happen. I didn't even think we were going to necessarily see Tobey Maguire until the post-credits or some shit. But we get a full-on team up in this movie.
Like all the second half of the movie is that. But I see what you're saying, but for me, it didn't feel rushed. Like I liked it because like the first part of the film is like classic Marvel, kind of like happy, like, oh no, people know Peter, Spider-Man, and it's like it's affecting their college. They can't go to MIT, boo-hoo. But like once they fuck up the thing, even him capturing the other villains was very Disney. Like, I don't know, like not too no high stakes, because even Sandman helps him, right? And even Electro's kind of like, all right, I'm kind of with this, sounds cool. Because obviously Jamie Foxx, he's like, I like how I look now. Like, I'm not fucking blue.
Jamie Foxx, I loved it.
And so, but then
shit his new hairline.
Oh yeah.
That was weird though, because like, did anybody else change appearance via the universe? Like, I just feel like they try to shoehorn that in. Like he's different universe. Yeah, but everyone else is the same.
Nah, that's because that was Marvel right there saying like, Sony, we didn't like what you did there. We're gonna make this change, and people will like it enough that they won't care.
Because what you did was so bad. What you did was so bad that we're gonna just change it with no explanation, and people will accept it.
And they did that a lot in this movie. And this movie is so epic that it ties up fucking plot threads from other franchises. And real quick, for a shout out to my guy Bryan Singer, who has been maligned lately because of bullshit. And Chaz, you were saying like, is it possible for people to just turn and hate somebody? I think absolutely, and we've seen it a lot lately.
Yes,
with social justice warriors and shit. But Bryan Singer was the first guy to resolve another franchise.
You're
another
right.
Movie. I was like, whoa, he did that shit in Days of Future Past. And then to see it happen in this movie with two separate franchises while also resolving its own trilogy, it was just too much.
They had to have studied that. They had to have studied Days of that execution of it.
No, exactly. That's why I trust Marvel, man. Like, I feel like they're hiring the right people. They're really doing their due diligence and really making sure, like, give us a good story that's a good story, period, in and of itself, and satisfies everybody. And so that's why, like, I didn't feel it was rushed, because I love that, like, yeah, that middle part with May ending was a fucking surprise, and then shit got dark, right? Because even that whole battle, like Green Goblin going fucking letting loose and just beating fucking on Spider-Man was like, I'm like, we haven't seen Tom Holland get his ass kicked like that, really. Like the Vulture a little bit, but like not like that, right? Not like fuck. He was even wearing his Tony Stark suit, right? Like, because with Vulture, he got his ass kicked when he was wearing his just regular ass shit, the pajamas that he had on. But like this was fucking intense, and seeing the death of Aunt May is like, fuck, and I liked how they connected that with this universe, that with great power comes great responsibility comes from Aunt May, not Uncle Ben. I thought that was cool, but I felt that thanks to then, that's the middle point of the movie, really. It really couldn't have progressed like what happens later without the Spider-Man. Without Andrew, without Toby, Tom Holland wouldn't have been able to have healed from that on his own. Word. There's no fucking way for that. If it would have been a Tom Holland only film, yes, we need a second film for him to deal with that pain and how he grows out of it. Maybe, the black suit would have showed up there and he could have gone dark and fuck. But like the fact that Toby showed up, Andrew showed up, they've all gone through pain, I think really fucking helped Tom to, all right, and then like continue on as Spider-Man. And so for me,
but then look how they did it. Ned out of nowhere conjures portals. Well, and then like, does he conjure them to the respective universes, or were these Peters hanging around?
No, they were in the MCU. They were in the MCU because what happened? So I'm glad you bring this up, because we have to talk about this with the post credits. So what ended up happening was that when Tom Holland's Peter Parker fucked up the spell, right? Because he didn't want people to forget who he was, key people, right? And because Doctor Strange was like, we're all gonna fucking forget, dude.
Yeah.
And so he ended up saying, I want everybody who knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man to remember. So that's everybody who got pulled in. So then, because he fucked up the spell in the last moment, that brought the multiverse in. So it basically brought anybody who knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man in the multiverse came to the MCU. And so that's why we got all these people. And so that's why Toby and Andrew were there already. And so when they got pulled in, Toby said that. He's like, I was just walking around. I saw it on the news, what was happening to Tom Holland. I was trying to find him. Andrew said something like that. So they were in the MCU. So at least Ned wasn't that powerful to open a multiversal portal.
Shit, that would have been epic.
But that's a good point, though. They did kind of just like, that's more Deus Ex Machina, that they like, yeah, let's just throw in that Ned has family with magical history.
Bro, that was so random.
Yeah, that was pretty random and not related at all to the comic books, like, because in the comic books, Ned Leeds becomes the Hobgoblin, and it's like,
yes, I thought that was really cool too, because now that he's forgot. Okay, again, we're gonna skip to the end. Eventually, Doctor Strange's spell does work. And then Ned forgets that, Peter was his best friend and that they went on these epic adventures together. And then during the movie, he's like, I'm never going to like go crazy and try to kill you. But now it's fucking possible, because he doesn't even fucking know that Peter Parker's Spider-Man. So I thought that was cool. So we might see him again in the future.
Yeah, and a quick shout out to when all hell breaks loose, really, to that quick. Well, it didn't even feel quick just because of how well made all the sequences were in this movie. The Doc Ock and Spider-Man scene on the fucking highway when he goes to talk to the lady who's like the head of admissions. And I had called it that he gets his hand on some Stark nanotech because he ripped off a piece of the suit, which the way that the suit deployed looked amazing. Oh my God. And I love how Disney pulled off the fact that it looked like a different suit, but it was just the suit inside out. like it looked like he had some epic new suit on or some crazy shit, but it was really just his suit that was inside out. You noticed that, right? That when like he was washing it, that he just put on the costume inside out during the movie.
Wait, what?
Wait,
now?
which fight?
Yeah, what are you talking about? No, I'm confused. Wait, what?
You guys remember when like he's trying to clean off his suit and shit like that? That he just
Yeah.
puts on the suit
Yeah.
inside out. In the trailer, it looked like he had this new crazy epic suit, but it wasn't that. It was just that his suit was inside out. It didn't really like.
You're
come
talking about
across
the
like that in
black
the trailer.
suit, the black suit that he wore against
Yeah,
Electro?
yeah. No. Oh well, yeah, that one. Yeah, it was just his suit inside out. It wasn't
Oh,
anything
okay, now I
crazy
get what.
shit.
Yeah.
But in the trailer, it looked bugged out. Like, oh, he has a new.
Oh, I thought it
suit,
was a new
yada, yada,
suit.
yada.
Oh,
No.
that's a good point.
No, that was just his suit inside out. Like I
Yeah.
noticed that during the movie. But anyway, I
But
sound
yeah,
fucking
to that-
crazy right now for like 15 seconds because he jerks.
No, because
No,
you're
but
talking about the Doc Ock fight.
No, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
That shit was sick.
I'm
Yo.
high and caffeinated, but yeah, that highway scene was a fucking amazing, dude.
Yo, I felt like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme from fucking Once Upon a Time, like pointing into the screen. You know, when that scene happened, I was like, oh shit! I'm like, fucking just called it. I'm like, you know, because you fucking called it. You know, for you watching, if you want to get a taste again of Spider-Man, go watch with us the trailer
Facts.
reaction. You get to see the whole fucking trailer and hear us talk, and you get us. You can see the shit that we said that actually panned out. Like just saying how the and I loved how they made it work. Right, that the nanotechnology infected Doc Ock's fucking arms, and seeing Tom just kind of control him, and I'm like, I love that. I'm like, oh, that's fucking dope, man.
Dude.
You know, what part was unintentionally dark when Peter is fixing Doc Ock. Like against his will, like let go of me.
Yeah,
No. Yeah. Low key, that was kind of scary and Machiavellian.
Yes,
Because Peter Parker is this multiversal, I don't know, kind of like an evil genius. It can seem that way from an outsider's perspective. Oh, he's out there fixing people and shit.
Yeah.
The fucking lobotomy Superman shit.
No, honestly, because I was thinking like he still is a high school student, you know, and it's like he's already gonna put something that goes to his brain. I'm like,
and
okay.
He's brilliant though.
You're like, okay, they didn't like rush this story, but then he's like, okay, villains from across the multiverse. Here's a 3D printer that can make anything you want. Like, okay, let's get this story rolling and shit. I get it. I see what you're doing, but they did a lot of things that was just fast. Even the convincing of Doctor Strange to perform this spell, and I don't know, man. He's like, as a top tier Avenger, to be that kind of careless. I know we've seen it with Tony Stark. I wasn't fully into it with Doctor Strange being a little careless with magics that can fucking disrupt the fabric of reality.
I don't think he was careless though. I don't think he was careless because one, Peter's life was fucking destroyed, bro. Every villain knows who he is, his family, his friends, they're all in danger. Like they probably got to get mad support from S.H.I.E.L.D. or SWORD or whoever the fuck. That shit is crazy. One. Two, he came at him mad sarcastically. He's like, so you want me to change like he gave him every opportunity, because at the end, like, that type of favor is kind of owed. Like, yo, I saved the world with you. My life is fucking ruined. Like, I don't think that was careless. I think the one that fucked up was Peter being fucking stupid and being a kid. Like, he should have thought about the way he asked for it. You know, like, it's kind of like a wish. Think it out before you say the words.
Sure.
You know?
And we knew it was going to happen. The spell, making everybody forget. But I just felt like the beats were just a little bit odd for me.
All right. I hate you, Rod, but I'm glad you're bringing this up because you're like pointing things out that I'm like, I wasn't in, because in the moment I'm in so much, because people out there, I think
you're orgasming nonstop. Just
y'all know, out there that Spider-Man is my number one fucking character. Yeah, Rod is rocking that Miles Morales kind of shirt, right? I think it looks like it, right?
Yeah.
You know, like Spider-Man's my number one character, and actually, this movie came at a great time because I've been actually debating whether do I love Spider-Man more than I do Daredevil, because Daredevil's been growing for me as like such a, we'll get into it some other time, but this movie like cinched it for me. I'm like, oh yeah, but
I have a question for you. Who do you prefer, Matt Murdock? I mean, Charlie Cox Daredevil, or Tom Holland's Spider-Man?
Charlie Cox.
Damn,
Tom
I
Holland.
respect that. Oh, we're divided.
What?
Yeah.
With the
I
plot
go
twist.
Charlie Cox, Daredevil too. I'm glad we brought that up.
Yeah. Anyway, but the point is, you're right. You're pointing out some things that in the moment, I'm not gonna lie. I cried almost all throughout the movie. I think at least 3 moments. From
Facts.
joy at the
Facts.
beginning when Aunt May died and when Andrew Garfield saved MJ. Those were key moments. I was so happy. I was like, it's my childhood dream. This kind of movie. But you're right. But the Doctor Strange moment, I get what you're saying. For me, I don't think it was too much out of character. I feel maybe it helps the What If episodes that we saw, and that we saw that there is a Doctor Strange out there willing to fuck with the multiverse so much to save the woman he loved, that we know it's in him. We know it's in him, and so, and like what Ches said, they did go back and forth quite a bit, and that, I think that made me believe that Doctor Strange was like, all right, because you did help us save the universe, right? So it's like the least I can do. And in the comic books, that's what happens, because after after One More Day and Mephisto makes everybody forget who he is, the way Mephisto rewrites the universe is that he makes Doctor Strange cast a spell to make everybody forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and he agrees to it. And so it's like, I'm not, but I see what you're saying. But there's a lot of stuff happen in the movie.
Yeah,
I
no, it was
never
a
understood
massive
that
movie.
shit though. Like in the comics, that shit always seemed like it makes sense. Spider-Man being Spider-Man, active Avenger, reserve Avenger, what have you, that he would go to Doctor Strange. I never understood that shit in the comics. Like, out of all people, he went to Satan.
Well, in the comic books, in One More Day, because in One More Day was a much higher stakes, because Aunt May was going to die because of it, because they were trying to kill Peter Parker and they shot Aunt May by accident, and she was gonna die. And so that's when he went. No, he went to Strange. He went to Iron Man first in Civil War, and Iron Man's like, I can't do anything. I'm sorry. And then Doctor Strange said too, like, I'm sorry, death comes to everybody. We can't do anything here. And Mephisto then approaches Spider-Man and approaches MJ at the same time. And so Mephisto played his fucking devilry, stuff to convince both to do that, because it was they sacrificed, instead of making people they sacrificed their love. And so then after, because at that point they were married, and all that. And so when they reset the universe for Spider-Man, they weren't together anymore. They weren't a couple. They've never been a couple before. I mean, they were boyfriend, girlfriend, but they never got married. And they rewrote all that history because Mephisto, and I believe that. I felt that was a good way, the way Michael Straczynski wrote that story.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so that was more or less his third option. All right, because I didn't read that story arc, but the way I've heard it explained to me is always like he just went to Mephisto. Like,
no, and it wasn't even the third option, because Doctor Strange said, I can't do this, but he gave Spider-Man the power to split himself, like in como se dice, like astral project himself all over the world. And so he reached out to everybody when he did, like, he went to, I think, the Reed Richards, and there's this awesome panel, I think it was drawn by Joe Quesada, that's like him, Spider-Man, going across the Earth to try to find a cure for Aunt May to help save her from not a cure, but it's like a fucking bullet wound to the fucking chest of an old lady. And nobody could save her. And so that's what made him be like, fuck, there's no choice. And then that's when Mephisto shows up, like, all fucking, oh, hey, I could do this.
That makes total sense. So
it was a good book. It was a good story.
Aunt May still fucking dies.
Yo, Aunt May. Well, here Aunt May dies. Yo, Marissa Tomei. Oh, come on.
Again, because of the whole reboot shit. Like Happy and May, all these MCU-centric characters kind of either vanished or forgot or died or some bullshit. But yo, real quick, the battle between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, that was ridiculous. Yo,
facts, dude.
Sick.
I was gonna bring that up. Yo, that might be one of the best visual sequences in all of moviedom.
Yo, too much. It was fucking too much.
What was it called? The mirror dimension or some shit?
Right, which we saw in his film, in his first film, the only film so far. Yeah, exactly. So I love that. What I loved about that too, because I felt this movie was the most Spider-Man film out there, because we get this whole thing about Peter Parker wanting to do good because it's affecting the people he loves. I'm like, that's fucking Spider-Man. And this moment when he's like, no one dies, like he doesn't, because he found out, right, that once he sends all the multiversal villains back to their world, they die because they literally go back basically right around the time they're about to die, except the lizard doesn't die. So I'm like, the lizard's like, I don't care. Like, probably he actually gets cured. So Andrew Garfield actually cures the lizard
Connors?
Kurt Connors after Kurt Connors kills Gwen Stacy's dad. But anyway, but I felt that was very cool. There was actually Dan Slott had this great run in Spider-Man that really revolved around that, about Spider-Man really adhering to like nobody dies, because too many people had died in his life.
Yeah.
Because you were saying earlier, Rod, in the comic books, J. Jonah's dad was engaged to Aunt May, and in the Dan Slott's run, he dies. He gets killed by one of the Spider Slayers. And so that's kind of what leads to, I think, Spider-Man to go like extra hardcore, like nobody fucking dies, not even villains dies, which we saw that in this movie hardcore, because it cost him Aunt May's life.
Word.
Fuck, and even at the end, Aunt May's like, you did right, you did well, like this is the right thing to do. It was like, fuck,
dude. And I think in that fight, that took place in the mirror dimension, I think at that point, like, he got Strange's respect as like a peer / adversary in a way, because like I'm sure he respected him, fellow Avenger, would save the world, but he saw a kid in that fight sequence. He was like, wait, I'm, in parentheses, the fucking Sorcerer Supreme. I just threw this kid into the mirror dimension, and I'm sure he didn't like get violent or everything he had, but it was like, I went to blows with this kid and he came out, he trapped me with webbing and agility in the mirror dimension, like just doing him and using straight fucking math. Read books, kids.
Math. I think for that for me was the only moment that felt kind of like, I'm not gonna think about it too much. Like,
really,
like what Rod's been saying, because like, yeah, he did like geometry or algebra. What was it? Geometry.
Remember,
but he's a genius.
And I'll give him a pass because he's also a spider, and spiders do this. It's like perfect geometrical pattern.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wait. Do you think that's on par with that shit I've read before, where like Cyclops has like a spatial awareness, because you know what I mean, or like, is it Captain America has like spatial awareness, like to throw the shield? So it's kind of like the fact that he's a spider assists him with geometric like sight or some shit. You're saying?
I buy it. I'm with it.
I'll go with that.
Sounds good. Yeah,
I'll take that. I like that.
Damn, that was too much right there. Yo, the action sequences are the best. It's hard not to pick this as the best Spider-Man movie of all fucking time.
You see what I'm saying?
And actually, speaking about the spider abilities, and let's say geometry is part of them, the other thing for the first time, we got really good in Tom Holland's movies, the spider sense. Because he in the first movie, the only movie we saw a little bit of spider sense was in I think, if I remember correctly, but if I'm wrong, fans, listeners, email at legiononzoom@gmail, legiononzoom@gmail.com, or message us, DM us, right? They're open.
Facts.
On Instagram. Was in Endgame. No, Infinity War. Infinity War, when we see the hairs stand up on when the ship arrives in Manhattan. But in this movie, I really loved it. Like when Green Goblin's about to go fucking insane and attack everybody, that he just like feels it, right? He's just like, something is wrong.
Yeah, that scene is sick. I thought about it at least like 50 times as I saw that. Because then even you as the viewer, you don't know who the fuck is about to flip. Because Willem Dafoe, being the brilliant actor that he is, he keeps you on your toes. Like, you don't know which version he is. And he actually, like, he's not putting an act. He really is two characters, right? Like Two-Face or some shit.
Wonderful,
yeah,
exactly.
Right? Yo, and then Peter Parker's like, what the fuck is gonna go down? And then everything, oh my God.
I'm not gonna front, like, he played that shit so well that like I thought it was gonna be Electro.
Oh,
yeah,
word.
Yeah.
I thought Electro was just gonna rip that shit off. So it's like, nah, I'm lit, but you know what I'm saying? And it's like, but then oh shit, it wasn't obvious in any way. That's how well done that shit was. Like it was hard to call.
And going back to William James Defoe, excellent craft. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but he would play it almost as two characters when he did the original Spider-Man film, because he has crooked teeth, but he had como se dice, those veneers. He had like fake fucking teeth veneers on when he was Norman Osborn. He had it looked like he has proper. Not proper, fuck proper. I have crooked teeth. Fuck that. My teeth are great. But the point is, and then he would take him off as Green Goblin and show his crooked teeth. There's that one scene that he's like talking to the mirror in the first Sam Raimi film that you can see that vividly. So he's really trying to be two people, so he's such a good actor, man. Fuck yes.
I hadn't thought about it until you pointed it out just now. That scene.
Is William fucking Defoe. William fucking Defoe.
Yo, and just to have Green Goblin was the Tom Holland Spider-Man's toughest nemesis. And he's from another fucking universe, right?
Is he? I would say it's Doc Ock on the low. I'm not gonna front. Doc Ock.
My guy killed Aunt May, and he was gonna kill. I don't know. I feel like he's just ruthless.
Okay. I see where I'm fucking up. Yeah, you know what I was about to say, that Green Goblin is the most ruthless, but in my head, Doc Ock seems like the most dangerous. Bro, he can throw cars. You know what I mean? He could get in a highway, just he can break buildings.
I feel like Green Goblin will defeat him in a fight.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No, also that would be so cool to see.
Oh my god, facts! Oh shit, I never thought of that. Thought of that.
And I have thoughts on that actually. We'll get to the ending in a bit, but I have thoughts on where this may go. But I agree with Rod. Green Goblin's always been the deadliest one. He's fucking a genius, and he's fucking insane. Because Doc Ock isn't insane. He's nuts, but he's not insane, and he's somewhat of a good person. And in the comic books, he's been coming more and more. He was fucking Spider-Man for a long time, Green Goblin would never be Spider-Man, he'd be fucking a villain, and I feel this movie really showed us, because even in the first film, Green Goblin was almost about to kill MJ. He's destroying shit left and right. And in the second film, Sam Raimi's films, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock was really trying to do good, right? He feels no, this science thing that I'm doing will help people, and I have to do it at all costs. Green Goblin wasn't really about that. Green Goblin was fuck all of this. I don't know what I'm fucking doing. I'm gonna fucking go crazy.
And he beat his ass too.
Yo, he did.
Because Peter, he defeated I think almost every other villain in the first confrontation. Maybe not Vulture, I don't remember, but in this one, Aunt May had to stand up against fucking Norman Osborn. That whole scene was epic. She's a fucking lioness mother protecting her cub, and then she fucking dies for it. I did not see that coming. That shit was sick.
I see what you guys are saying, because I guess I'm just fixated on the power of the tentacles themselves, because they're fucking insane. But yeah, I definitely see that, because the Tobey Maguire fucking Osborn, he was basically a more evil version of Tony Stark before he became Iron Man. He was I'm making weapons and I'm making biochem shit, which is the dark fucking part of creating weaponry. Is against the fucking Geneva Convention, all that crazy shit. And he was all in on the black market of weaponry and experimentation. So fine, fair enough.
All in.
Yeah, because he's innately evil and then became a super villain. Fair enough. Okay, you guys sold me. I got you.
Yo, bros, this is how epic the movie is in. We're about halfway through the movie about talking what's been happening. We're halfway close to more of the latter end, but this is so good.
So facts. Wait, fans. So real quick, if you want to press pause, take a shit, pee, maybe masturbate,
as you take
a snack.
Shout out to you, fans.
Or as you masturbate.
Well, yeah. If you do masturbate to us, let us know which voice is the sultriest one that worked for you. That's
DM us.
Do you think anybody's ever come whilst having us playing in any format?
Damn. Yo, I think using Occam's razor, the answer might be yes.
And you think that's Occam's razor? I think it hasn't. I'll take it though.
Yeah, no, I'd like to hope so. I'd like to, why not?
Or maybe
Why
you,
not?
listener, be the one.
Be the one to set the stat, the
Yeah.
pioneer, and take a jizz intermission.
Anyway, so yes, Aunt May dies. No, hopefully you're not jizzing right now.
Hopefully you are.
Oh,
And
my
that's
God.
when you get the Peter Parker support group scene, which
Oh my God.
it was hard not to giggle a little bit. Granted, I fucking loved it. Fan service at its finest. But just the whole like bros crying, like, yeah, man, my uncle died too. I was just like, oh my God, this is cringy.
No, what? Not at
It
all,
was so
bro.
cringy.
Yeah, I mean,
have a
but that's
soul, come on.
that's because you're dead inside. Other humans, like I cried. I mean, I did have like 200 milligrams for the movie, so I was flying through this adventure. But regular humans with emotions, people that process things in a healthy manner, cried during the movie. Those who we know with no soul, that are dead inside, and so forth, saw that as cringy because all the tender moments were fucking amazing.
This is becoming an intervention on Rod because we were worried when we messaged about it, when we all saw it, because I saw it first, then Ches and Rod, and then we were like, how much did you all cry? And then Rod was like, I didn't cry at all. Like, yo, listeners, if you didn't cry, let us know. Why didn't you? Who hurt you? We could talk about
I don't know if this was a cry-worthy movie.
And if you did cry, please let us know, so Rod can see it as evidence that he's a soulless thing.
Exactly. Tell us.
I honestly don't think that it was like a sad movie. Even the scene where Ame dies, like, yeah, it was powerful. But we've seen Peter. We've seen Peter, and like when Tony Stark died, like we saw it happen, and that was like the death that changed his life. Like, and this is just the recovering the same ground again.
Bro, but it's different when your mentor dies versus when your pseudo mom dies. Save it because of you. So because Tony sacrificed himself, like here, like Aunt May kind of sacrificed herself, but it was like he led to everything that happened, because Spider-Man could have sent them home, but it's on him. It's the guilt that he did all this. Like, oh my God, that was beautiful. And for me, I wasn't expecting it. I was like, you're not gonna kill Aunt May. You're not gonna kill Marissa Tomei. Come on. It's like, oh my God. Especially they come teased us, no? Because like she gets hurt and then she gets up and she kind of helps Toby. I mean, helps Tom get up, and we're like, I'm like, of course she's not gonna die. And then it's like, she is.
They stretched. I believe that you guys being academics, we should set a baseline. Rod, ever have you cried during a movie?
Rocky IV. And
I respect
what scene?
The last fight, the last victory. What else? I think Good Will Hunting. God damn.
I'm not gonna front. That's a pretty I want to say high bar and like a mature palate. I wasn't expecting that.
Other shit.
I was expecting you to say like, no, I never cried at all.
No.
All right, but fair enough. I'll give you that.
Maybe Terminator 2 when I was a kid.
What?
At the end, the thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
When he's going to the molten lava, and when he fuck the steel, and then he gives him the thumb up. I'm like, oh, when they had the little song playing in the back.
I was wondering at one point in Terminator 2 is tear worthy. I respect that. All right, fine.
No, exactly.
That guy, that touching scene with John Connor, he's like, I know now why you cry. And he wipes the tear from his cheek, and then he goes into, no, stop.
We're gonna cry. We're all gonna cry right now. And I'm because I'm on the opposite end. I cried like nothing. For me, crying while watching a movie is like a pastime. Like I enjoy that. Like I'll never forget actually. Amazing Spider-Man, the first Andrew Garfield film. That's the first movie I ever saw like by myself at the movie theaters, which I felt like that was weird. And I went and I saw it. And
shit!
And I cried during it. I don't remember what moment. It was like there was some nice moment. I was like, and I just felt like free. Like it was just so good. And since then, any movie, I'm gonna fucking cry. If there's a little bit of an emotion, I'm gonna cry. Just out of joy, just because it's great. Try it, people.
It's crazy that you said that because that means that years and years before I met you, the first time I ever went to the movie theater was to see the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Like
By
so,
yourself.
both our first movies
no.
were Spider-Man movies. That's fucking nuts. That's crazy. And second, I think the both of you need to talk to someone because you're both on the emotional extreme spectrum. That's why.
Word.
No. We're
I
all
get
good.
pissed,
as
like,
the
yo, I
way
need
we
to
are.
cry more. Like, you ever think to yourself, like, yo, I'm overdue for a cry, but it just doesn't happen.
Bro, that's why, because I rarely cry. I feel like in real life, but I feel like in movies, that's my I let it all out. Like it's enjoy. Try
I'm
that.
trying to
Like,
think of a superhero movie that brought that shit out.
gotta rewatch No Way Home.
Now, yeah, for me, this one is the most. I mean, once I saw Forrest Gump drunk and I cried so much.
Well, I can see that. Yeah, Forrest Gump is an
Fuck,
emotional.
I'm never gonna forget that. But yeah, but this may be the most emotional superhero movie I think I've ever like seen. Yeah, that shit was fucking bonkers. And I know we've mentioned it, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, but I just can't glaze over. Like, we need to make a statement about it itself that they hit this shit so well, and we got all three of the Spider-Man for the entire what felt like second half of the movie. It wasn't an appearance, it was a genuine its own version of the Spider-Verse, and that shit is mind-blowing. Full scenes, laid out dialogue, that shit was bonkers in every way. And I love the
Yeah.
fact that they even addressed the fact that Tobey Maguire's web is organic. Like, I love the fact that they really went in on that to the point that they asked him if it came out of any other places, which I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wondered that myself. And and even like the consequences of like the web swinging when they had to crack when Andrew Garfield had to crack Toby's back. I loved all those little moments between them. It was so ambitious.
Yeah,
I
and the
loved all
quick
that.
little like web fight.
Oh,
When the two
word.
Peters see each other for the first time, they're like I'm like, oh, what the fuck just happened? That was awesome.
That was all of that. Basically every scene that we have the three of them together was
gold.
fucking gold, and they did everything we needed them to do, right? Like they talked about like, wait, what? You need the web slingers, and like you do, and the questions they asked are like, well, wait, how do you do? And even Toby being like, it's like breathing. I don't think it's not like I'm thinking of making webs. It's like wonderful. I will say I wanted to really get your guys' thoughts on what did you guys think about the way the Spider-Man appeared, how Andrew appeared versus Toby appeared, because in my mind Toby was a little bit lame the way he just appeared.
You know, Dan, I didn't even think of that because I just went along with it. Like, I think it would have been almost too much to make each one an appearance. You know, like one had a moment, the other had a dialogue, and Toby, he more or less just walked out of the portal. But also remember, you got to take their ages into account because I think that had something to do with it. Because I think that Toby being a more older and mature Spider-Man, I think he was the Spider-Man from the Spider-Verse movie, like in the cartoon, that I guess would have been like the older, jaded one, kind of on the low. Like he just walked on, like there was no need for an entrance for him.
They can set that up if Toby is down, or even if Andrew Garfield is down to be that one whenever they get Miles and have that story play out live action. That would be fucking dope.
Nah, I don't know. Low-key, I felt like Toby was more like, look, I'm doing it because of the money right now. I don't really care about this a lot too much. I don't know. That's the vibe I got because I felt like when Andrew appeared, he's in his spider suit. He runs. I remember like the moment he starts running, I'm like, yo, that's not Tom. Like fucking excited. He appears epically in his suit, takes his mask off. It's like, oh my God, it's Andrew. And then Toby just walks in wearing like what even Andrew made fun of it.
Yeah,
Like what's like a Sunday school, school teacher or something like that, right?
Like summer camp counselor,
some
shit like that.
No, it was a cool youth counselor.
Ándale,
Cool
exactly.
Counselor, some shit like that.
Because then Toby just walks in like, hey everybody.
No, but remember, he's
me.
older. Remember?
Well, yeah, but one, he's older because of choice, probably, right? Because both Alfred Molina and whatchamacallit. Well, you're right. No, you're right. He got pulled in at his own time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because Alfred and Willem Dafoe got pulled in when they were about to die, and so they're young. But Toby, we get these old as fuck Toby, and I don't know. He's like, I don't care. Like, whatever.
Wait. That's weird though, because so we got old Toby, but that goblin died 5 years ago. So they both got pulled from the same universe, but at two different points in time.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying, Rod?
Yeah.
Like
it did. I didn't think about that too much until just now that Miguel mentioned it. But yeah, the Green Goblin was pulled right before he dies, and then Peter was pulled in real time, like, all these years later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because the vibe that I got was like each villain got pulled in with their Spider-Man from the same, I guess, time section. But it seems like the Goblin and Tobey Maguire got pulled in, but mad far apart. Which I always find that shit a little bit weird, but yeah, like you just went with that along with the same way they went with the fact that Jamie Foxx is now attractive as fuck in this universe. So it is what it is. We just had to essentially fucking deal with it.
Yeah, but I think they all got pulled in right when they were about to die. I think everybody except the Lizard.
Was that the theme? I didn't get that. Like, was that
not for the Peters? Hopefully, imagine.
Oh,
dark.
Wait, so that's what happened. They all got pulled in the moment right before they died. Then okay,
well, we do know with Alfred with Doc Ock. That's how what happened. He said he's like, where's my thing? Because he mentioned he said something. He alluded that he was fighting Spider-Man
and he was drowning.
And that was at the end, because at the very end in Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man does free Doc Ock of his control from the tentacles, and then he sacrifices himself to save the world from pulling the sphere thing into the river. And so we know it's before that because he's still evil. And so, but he mentioned that he's fighting, so it's somewhere along those lines. And we know with the same thing with the Green Goblin, it had to have happened because he dies, in the movie too.
Enough.
So we don't know. And Electro, we know he dies too at the end of his film. But the Lizard, and I don't remember if Sandman dies though. I haven't seen Spider-Man 3 in a minute.
Nah, doesn't he just dip? He just fades away into the wind or some shit.
That's an epic villain, yo. If you think about like all the powers that were on display, Sandman is low-key OP as fuck.
Oh, we get a little bit of Electro versus Sandman. I thought that was cool. Just
yes,
of them fighting each other. I'm like, yo, I'm eating this up, man.
Yes,
facts. And I'm saying this shit straightforward. Even though they improved on the Electro design, I just feel like that's a villain that still hasn't been pulled off. It was trash. It was still trash. It looked trash. Even with the fucking, what's it called? The shit from Tony Stark, the arc reactor. Even the look, they still didn't pull off Electro.
Really?
It sucked. I think it sucked.
I liked him right now. Rod, what do you
No. Mind you. I'm saying I like Jamie Foxx as Electro. That's fine. But they can't pull off Electro. Like,
I don't know. I like the way he looked.
I don't know. I thought, I forgot the director's name.
John Watts.
Oh,
talking about Electro. Hey.
Word. And the director for the Amazing Spider-Man was like Webb. Wasn't it some shit Webb?
Mark Webb.
John Webb.
Mark
Webb.
Yeah. I'm a fan of that.
Fuck. I forgot what I was gonna say.
About Electro, but we were saying like I like how the way he looks now.
Oh, right. I just like the fact that this movie kind of like fixed a lot of things that weren't great about the original versions. Like I like that the Green Goblin left his mask behind in the beginning. Because because we want to see Willem Dafoe's face, and then there's that meme now on the internet that I fucking love of him with that meme grin
with the hoodie, like
because Tobey Maguire had the meme like with the and from the second one. Now this one is similar, and again, just to mention the fact that memeception, Willem Dafoe was like, I'm something of a scientist myself. Like I'm like, yo, this is fucking so much fanfare.
That shit is meta squared.
Bro, this is a cinematic experience. And I read this morning that it was like, it's Sony's highest grossing film of all time. Yo, Marvel Studios is never getting the cinematic rights back to Spider-Man. Yo, he is in and of himself an institution, man. This was like Endgame again. Like you think that Endgame is as big as it can get. And you know, I'm opening up to the fact that maybe Kevin Feige can pull off another big ass event like Endgame, but in the cut, Sony released their version, and I feel like this was a Sony movie simply
think so?
because
Nah, bro, come on,
they
it's a
went
Marvel
deep.
movie.
Yeah, that's
Nah,
true.
this movie was more Sony than it was MCU, and you can't have this movie without the Sony villains that were established. And
Nah,
that
but
was
like,
almost all of them.
but like the way you're saying, and the way we started today's episode with me showing all the action figures I brought back home from Tijuana, I felt we're seeing the version that we saw. It's because MCU, the Marvel Studios, was able to take the action figures from Sony and be like, let me play with them the way we want to.
Word.
And killed it, because like everything you described, they're like, fuck Electro's look, we're gonna make it to look better. Green Goblin too, like, come on, everybody kind of didn't really love the mask, right? Because that's not what the comic actor, and so they said, like, let's just go with Willem Dafoe's fucking acting chops. Let's fucking break his mask from the beginning. Like, that's awesome. So they made like these executive decisions that were like, we don't trust you, Sony. You fucked up already many times. We're gonna do it our own way. And I felt it was a Marvel film from beginning to end. And for me, I've never felt any of these are Sony.
You know what makes me think though is because my movie theater had the same reaction that you had, Miguel, with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. When Andrew shows up, everybody's like, "Oh, clapping!" And keep in mind, this was like the lowest performing Spider-Man. Like, and people were more stoked about seeing him. And even though, you know, the Sony movie wasn't all that well received, I feel like that's the magic of it. Like, ultimately, even when people shit on a movie, they love Spider-Man.
Yo,
and that's Sony's domain, man. This is their big film, because you don't hear like, oh, Marvel Studios made $1 billion or they broke records. Nah, this is a Sony picture.
No, but I don't see. But I hear that both of them made $1 billion. What I think is sad is, like what you said, this is Sony's biggest grossing film. It's not Marvel's biggest grossing film. They've made big grossing films, you know, and it's competing with Endgame, you know, because it's a Marvel film. For me, that's the thing. What's different? Marvel Studio. That's what's different, because we just saw them do Venom, like, and it sucked. Like, their first Venom was okay, and I'm like, yeah, Sony is doing it. I do hope Sony learns from all of this shit, because the test will be Morbius. If Morbius is a standalone Sony film, it's good, you know, well then yes, Sony learned its shit. But like, so far from Venom, god damn, it's been crap. Let's not forget Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield was not great. Andrew Garfield is great as Spider-Man, and Spider-Man 3 with Sam Raimi, it was not a good film. And so far, but Marvel has been consistently giving us good films. Even their subpar films are great films still.
I think
except Eternals, that shit was whack. I don't care.
But like, even then, like, it was still like graphically ambitious and epic in its own right. You know what I mean? Like, if isolated from the broader MCU, if it would have been some other crazy shit, that movie's pretty wild. But just going off of all the Spider-Man movies, the Venom movies, comparing like the average feeling and what you see, just the scope of this Spider-Man movie, everything, like, it's a Marvel movie. You could tell from like the tones, the flow, just the way things worked, like everything that was incorporated. Like, Sony can't make a movie like this. They never have.
They just did. I don't know. But anyway.
No, but they did with Marvel. It's not, they didn't do it at all. Like,
exactly.
Like, it said the producers are Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige. They're Marvel, you know, and they had other people who are Sony as well. But this is as much a Marvel film as it is a Sony film. I do say it's both. No, it is. Like, it's like the producers are Kevin Feige, Amy Pascal. Those are Marvel people.
In fact, he was on set like that, straight up behind the professor, just lording over him and shit.
Yeah, I guess we'll see when it comes to their a bit more exclusive approach for the next
yeah, like with Morbius and Venom, with Morbius and Venom 3. I think those are going to be the big things. And with Morbius, that's the part I'm confused about. We'll see what happens, because with Morbius, we see in the trailer that they show us an image of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, a graffitied onto a wall, and the Daily Bugle from his universe. Then we see a scene with fucking the Vulture, which is from fucking the MCU, and we see Norman Oscorp's building from Andrew Garfield's movies. So it's like what I was thinking this movie was going to lead to, that the universe is going to be combined, and then that's how it's going to happen. But obviously that didn't happen because everybody returned to their universe. So we'll see what the fuck. And also because we know it seems that Morbius is set in the Venom universe, because in the trailer we see that Morbius says like, "Oh, I am Venom," making fun of Venom, right? So it's like,
yeah,
I don't know what's going on there, right? So it's but we'll fucking see in a few months.
With Jared Leto.
Hell yeah,
I'm ready for it.
okay. I feel like this movie, if made any time before now, stood a higher chance of sucking than it does now. Like, just like, hopefully it's being made with all the right technology available, because it seems like it was, and hopefully it'll be the shit, which I kind of have a feeling that it's going to be pretty shocking. So after Aunt May dies and the Spider-Man bond and all this crazy shit, and they form their own web of trust. Well
done.
Thank you. The final battle ensues, which takes place at the Statue of fucking Liberty, which now has been updated, and instead of a torch, there's a fucking Captain America shield. And what goes down, I think, is one of the best action sequences. To be honest, it still doesn't top the Doctor Strange versus Spider-Man sequence, in my opinion, but it was still pretty dope. So you got 3 Spider-Men versus a whole new version of the Sinister Six, or was it 5? Was it 6 villains?
5.
Okay, the Sinister 5, the evil 5.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing I was let down. Like, I was like, oh, you could have had that 6th person there.
I was thinking about that too. Like, fuck, just needed one more.
Yeah, and within that fucking battle, you get Ned opening up some more portals, which Doctor Strange even addresses, like, oh shit, that's interesting. But then I thought that kind of went to shit when he erased everybody's mind. But dude, that moment when Andrew Garfield catches MJ on his way down and gets that closure, oh my god, like I felt so good about that. Dude, I lost bodily fluids when that happened.
Yo, and that's actually, for listeners, check out our YouTube videos and our podcast episodes, because you're right. Because so far, Ches, you called the fucking Stark Tech taking over the fucking Iron Man suit, and Rod, you called it perfectly that fucking Andrew Garfield was going to save MJ, and it's fucking beautiful.
And some dude in the movie theater behind me was like, redemption. And I think that's the same thing I said. I'm like, watch them redeem the character with this epic save.
Bro,
I thought that was going to be his first appearance, actually. That's how I had it in my head. Like, a Spider-Man's going to pop out of nowhere and be like, who the fuck is this lengthier, slender Spider-Man?
Yeah. No, that's what I thought too. I thought the Spider-Mans that we're going to get were going to be like at the end just to save the day. But I loved that we got way more than that. That we got a whole half of a movie with all of them interacting, just having, shooting the shit. Like, even when they're on the Statue of Liberty, just hanging out, and like Andrew's like, I love you guys. It's like, yeah. I love all of that.
And low key, if you think about it, that's like, aside from the fact that they all look different. Wait, before I say what I was going to say, I want to call out, we're a fucking triumvirate of scions on this podcast. We've called out a lot more shit than we think we have, I believe.
Yeah, we do.
That was a little bit narcissistic to say, like, to your different versions of yourself that I love you guys. That's some Tony Stark shit. And also, I thought that Tobey Maguire was gonna die when he got stabbed by Osborn.
Yeah.
That would have been epic. I'm not gonna front. That maybe would have been better. Like, he goes out, you know what I mean? But then if you think about it, it's like his universe is left without a Spider-Man, so the villain's just gonna run rampant. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
I thought
the same
Miles or some shit. They get their own Raimi versus Miles.
Oh,
bro, the possibilities for this shit are crazy, man.
Yo, well, even Jamie Foxx, right? When he got cured, and Andrew took his mask off, and even Jamie Foxx was like, "Oh, you're white? Like, I thought you were a black guy, because I don't remember exactly what he said, And
that was like a Puff Daddy bit. Puff Daddy made this joke a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like, yo, I always thought Spider-Man was black. you know, whatever. This is like old. I don't know. Pull this shit up.
That's so
P
dope.
Diddy Spider-Man. I
Yo,
like, oh shit,
deep
he's
cuts.
doing the P Diddy bit. Nice.
Damn.
Nice.
Good eye. And so, of course, after the end of the fucking final battle, Doctor Strange comes back out of nowhere because eventually he was gonna get out of the mirror dimension.
Yeah.
And somehow he reworks the spell, which seems to be the only way to fucking fix the situation, is to literally make everyone really forget, and then we get crushed emotionally again.
But it's even even worse than just what it was originally, because originally it was going to be like people will forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. What he did now is everybody forgets Peter Parker.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even catch that.
So nobody that's why at the end, like, even Happy is at the grave and asking him, how do you know her? Because he doesn't know who Peter Parker is.
Facts.
Everybody forgets Peter Parker existed. And that's also why he wasn't even able to finish high school. Because if you see when he gets to his apartment, he has a GED book, because he has to pass the GED to get his high school degree, because he disappeared from high school system.
Facts.
So Peter Parker doesn't exist. Spider-Man
I didn't
does.
think about that.
Dude,
Yeah.
Dude, at this point I had
That was
cried 4 times. I had to pee. I was high. I had a lot going on.
You got up to pee during the movie?
No. That's what I'm saying. I held it in.
Oh,
like
I'm about to say, like, damn, you can't leave. Not even for a
Yo.
second.
Exactly. I had already cried 3 times, and I was high as fuck. Like I was white knuckling reality by that time. So I never noticed that. Is like, forget you exist. So oh shit. But then we get crushed emotionally again. Rod didn't, because feelings. And dude, that goodbye with MJ and Ned, oh my god. Like, I felt that handshake, yo. I felt that shit. Like,
Hell yeah.
this movie could have been screened at Cannes. Fucking dude,
Hell
this
yeah.
Well, that's the big thing now. They apparently there's going to be a big push
Oscar.
to have it be an Oscar nominee for Best Picture, and I don't know. I think it should be at least considered for nomination.
Yeah, facts.
Like,
facts.
let's see what other films could be nominated, but like, at least, like, probably not win it. I don't know what else could be up there, but like,
But there's never been like a Marvel movie even mentioned like Best Picture. There's never been any other MCU.
Black Panther won some shit.
yeah, Black Panther wants something.
And I maintain that although it was an amazing film, they were catering, which I call BS.
Sure.
Like that, which irks me a little bit. But anyway, what
do you mean? What do you mean? Catering in the qué? ¿Cómo?
Like, Black Panther is an amazing movie.
Oh, Black Panther. Yeah, I thought you were talking
but
about No Way Home. Okay.
No. Yeah, but I feel like there's been so much like racism on behalf of the Academy in general that like they felt like they had to recognize Black Panther in some way. Like, it felt forced. Like, not saying that it didn't deserve awards, but it felt forced the way it was done, considering everything before that.
But sometimes you need it forced.
Yeah,
right. No, sometimes
Kind
you
of
gotta
affirmative
force it, man.
action is you gotta.
We are not
Yeah.
condoning
Something's
rape in
obligatory.
any way on this show. The only thing that should be
Rape?
forced is genuine social change. No, because Rod said like sometimes you need things to be forced. Like, nah.
Okay,
Man, but you felt rape.
Yo,
Consent
That's where your
matters.
mind went.
Yo,
Shit.
all right, you're concerned that cry doesn't you're concerned that Rod doesn't cry and that I cry too much. We're concerned that you may be raped. Like, what's going on, Ches?
No, I was saying, if anything, saying we don't condone rape, just trying to cover us from every angle. Times are crazy.
Anyway, so Spider-Man.
Rape is a topic rarely touched on comic book movies. I know one.
Watchmen.
Please, where?
Oh yeah. Oh shit. That's not even what I was thinking
Yeah,
about.
I'm thinking
No.
Wait, what? I can't think
The
of, like,
Crow.
Oh,
Word.
okay.
which is one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, and
Love
definitely
it.
low key
Cult
does
classic.
deserve an Oscar on the low. That on the low deserves a fucking Oscar. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, that's a good topic considering all these vigilantes, they have to stop bad guys from committing rape every once in a while, at least.
That's dark.
Like, like fuck.
But they should. They should.
Like,
yeah.
But yeah, moving forward.
But anyway, right, the film ends with like everybody forgets who Peter Parker is. So we see him. What I loved about that is it's Peter Parker going back to basics, which I felt was also more, como se dice, a fan service, because honestly, a lot of people complained about Tom Holland's Spider-Man as like, oh, he's just like an Iron Man. He has his suit. He has all. He only gets shit. He only gets shit done because of technology and all that kind of stuff. You know, where he defeated the Vulture on his own without the Spider-Man Stark suit, but whatever. But what I loved about it because it brought it back down. Like, so nobody remembers who he is. So he doesn't have a the Iron Man suit anymore. He doesn't have any of the Iron Man tech, and he makes his own suit. And I felt he was inspired by Toby and Andrew because he made a classic suit. He made a blue suit, like, oh my god! And he's just like swinging on Christmas Eve. Like,
didn't think about that either.
Because that's what I meant. Like, by the end of the movie, now that we got here, he ends up becoming more like the Spider-Man that we know and love at the end of this movie. Like, this might be the Peter that's like, yo, how can I make money? I'll become a photographer. I'll take pictures of Spider-Man. And then he gets a job at the Daily Bugle. You know what I mean? So they even, dude, I'm getting goosebumps just discussing how brilliant of a fucking twist that is. So you take us through a whole origin story to make the last one an origin story.
Stop. You think he's gonna go back and then work with J. Jonah Jameson at the Daily Bugle?
Yeah, it's
calling
doable.
Himself
it's doable. It's doable. Because isn't that the whole shtick?
Yeah, because he's done that before.
That's the whole shtick. Spider-Man makes
and then even though everything almost fell apart, he's gonna associate himself with Spider-Man again. I mean, that would be an interesting thing for them to do. But that would be fucking weird.
But
he just got out of some wild shit where he had to like give up Mary Jane and his best friend to make people forget. Now he's gonna take photos for a tabloid run by a guy who's obsessed with him.
But that makes perfect sense. Tactical as fuck. You're hiding in plain sight. That's why Spider-Man's always done that. Peter Parker works at the Daily Bugle taking pictures of Spider-Man for J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, but it's not a newspaper anymore. But we'll see.
No, but I mean, but that's semantics. It's still a media company.
Yeah, no, because it's, if anything, it's gonna be even more money probably because it's like his own little Fox News or some shit, CNN that J. Jonah has now. And what I like about it, because I would love to see that, right? I would love to see Tom Holland, Spider-Man struggling with that idea of like, but yo, I gotta make money.
Yeah.
Fuck it, man. I'll do this fucking photos, and if I make money or a little, or maybe it might not even be photos, it'll be video now.
Video,
right?
exactly. Whatever, exactly.
And I buy that, right? Because we're gonna get that Spider-Man now. The Spider-Man that's like really fucking down on his luck. He doesn't have Aunt May. He's got no fucking money.
Yeah, or work at a university. That's another angle where he makes
money.
I've
seen that too.
But with that though, like he hasn't finished high school, right? So he's gonna have to take the GED.
Which he'll pass. I don't even know why he has.
He'll pass. No, he'll pass. You know,
exactly. Like, why does he even have it?
Or he could fail it because of all the Spider-Man shit he has going on.
Because that's one of the things I loved about, for instance, with Dan Slott's Spider-Man run, that Peter Parker in that universe, in the MCU 616, not MCU, Marvel, just regular Marvel. He never got his. He finished college, but he never got a PhD. But he's like PhD level, and he went back to school to try to get a PhD, but he wasn't able. He was fucking it up. And fucking, you know, he's
straight up,
with, you know, he's busy, you know, he does well, you know. At that time, that's when we got Cindy Moon's
we're comparing getting your GED to getting a PhD. There's
because you're saying he's gonna work at a college, at a university. Well, there's still steps for him to get to that point, you know, like he need plenty of spaces to fuck up. Because he got a PhD thanks to Doc Ock, you know, he got a PhD because Doc Ock got it. And then actually it got removed because they accused him of plagiarizing because it was Doc Ock's technology. Whatever. The point is too much geeky detail. But
it might be a few years, before we get the next Spider-Man movie. They could let it sit for a little bit now.
Yeah, for sure. And so then the movie ends. We all fucking love this. It was fucking beautiful movie. You know, like we're all excited. And then they give us our first post-credit scene, which we see Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy's Venom in the MCU, and it seems that he's basically doing a review of the Marvel universe, right? He's like, well, there's like a man in a suit and an alien that loves gems or stones or something, but then he disappears, right? But they gave us a little scene that apparently he left a little bit of the fucking
Symbiote.
there. So what do you all think of that?
Yo, like, can the symbiote communicate across the multiverse?
Fuck.
Because you
Look.
know he's gonna be big in the Spider-Verse eventual movie. Like, would he be able to like communicate? Like, oh, this piece of me is
You
on this
never
other
know.
fucking universe. That'd be
Because
crazy.
they could just do that. Like, it's not even like that question you asked is almost like, not do you think? Because they could just do it and it'll work. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're gonna be like, the symbiotes can't do that. Like, people are just even starting to just now in the last few years find out anything about the symbiotes and the planets and the ruler of the symbiote. You know, that crazy shit? They could make shit up as they go along. So the answer to your question is yes. Like, straight up, like if that's what they need.
And so they have to, though, for plot reasons, because so let's go back the way we're saying the reason the multiverse started to collapse. It's because because they brought people who knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man into the universe. Why is Venom there? That's the one thing I didn't like, because why is Tom? How does Tom Hardy know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man? Like, that makes no sense, because I think we talked about this in another episode. At the end of Venom, Let There Be Carnage, which I haven't seen, but I only saw the end credits because that's what people said was the best. We see that Venom is already in the MCU, which I'm assuming happens after he gets pulled in, and he sees a news, the Mysterio Jonah Jameson news about like Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and the Venom suit says something like, symbiote says something like he looks tasty or something. So then, I was excited thinking like, oh, it's the same universe, but then we get shown it's not, right? Because he gets returned. So my only explanation is to what you just said, Rod, that the Venom symbiote can communicate maybe across the multiverse, which would be a stretch, because who was the only villain that was not brought in? The only villain was not Topher Grace from that 70s shows Eddie Brock Venom brought in.
Shit.
And he knew Venom suit.
Venom
suit knew that he was Spider-Man.
3 a.m.
We're
bringing back Pepe Sylvia.
Pepe Sylvia.
Y'all was wondering where my guy Topher Grace was at. But yeah, that would have been too much. The movie was already massive. Don't add any
add
more.
A symbiote? No.
Or they could have asked Topher Grace. He was like, nah. And then they came up with that theory right there and then just stuck in Tom Hardy. So that shit holds a lot of water.
So maybe that's what we'll see with the next Spider-Man trilogy in a way, or even, I don't know, with the next Venom film maybe or something, that the symbiote, because in the comic books, the symbiotes don't communicate across the multiverse, but they can communicate across the universe. Like, with their God helps them, but there is some kind of hive of mind, so they can share information. And so, because that's the only reason, right? Why Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock has no fucking clue who Peter Parker that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but we do know that was the only, because come on, they brought in Sandman. Well, they could have even brought in Harry Osborn's, right? Like, even what's his name?
James Franco.
Father and son.
I think James Franco did appear in the MCU and started just fucking.
Facts.
James Franco loves to fuck.
Yo, he came in, he's like, I don't want to do any villain shit. Like, yo, how you doing?
There's new chicks here.
Facts.
Yo, he saw Jelena Belova.
Imagine finding your ex in another like universe and shit. It's like, oh, do I know you? I don't know. Do you?
You already know everything they like and shit. You're like, oh,
Now,
which reminds me a lot of The Matrix, but I won't say anything.
No. I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'm gonna watch it tonight. No. Anyway, but that was my only thought, and so I'm glad you guys fucking all right. That could be it, man. Fucking for that, because then they leave the symbiote, right?
Or that's just think of Sony fuckery. They fucked up. Like, it wasn't Kevin Feige. He's like, no, wait, oh fuck, what did you guys do? You put it out of order, you sons of bitches.
I'm be honest.
I like your explanation though. I love that explanation.
Facts. Like, I'm hoping that's the case because I haven't seen Venom 1 or 2. I hated that post-credit scene. I hated it so much that it made me not want to see the Venom movies even more.
Why? I thought you somewhat like Tom Hardy.
I like Tom Hardy. But that doesn't mean I have to like everything Tom Hardy's in.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
no, like,
Jesus.
not because like those
Put your
Venom movies.
foot down.
I'm saying because like those Venom movies seem bad to the point that even liking Tom Hardy, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
They look bad from far away, and
they're
then
not
now
bad. At least let's get that distinction. They're not bad. They're just because like nowadays we're getting these massive films, man. We're getting beautiful shit. Ches, he posted like a meme with that year started with the Snyder Cut and it ends with No Way Home. And there's a lot of parallels there. There were even scenes in No Way Home that I'm like, yo, this is Snyder-esque shit right here. Like, this is
which reminds me, for the fans, a litmus test. I wanted to ask Rod straight up, what's better, Snyder Cut or No Way Home?
Before I answer this question, I feel like there's gonna be like a 3-hour cut of this movie in the pipeline. They have to have filmed more shit. I think I'll give it to the Snyder Cut only because we got all of it, with a little bit of fuckery with Martian Manhunter, but we pretty much got everything that he had to offer. So, and of course it's DC. But even that, I love Spider-Man. Just Spider-Man and DC are like fucking like this. Not even Marvel and DC, Spider-Man and DC.
You heard it here, folks. He still prefers the Snyder Cut. I'm assuming John Watts got paid so much bread that even if there is a longer cut, like he won't make a stink out of it. But they'll be like, "Yo, do you want to put this out?" I'll be like, "If y'all want." Like,
yeah.
Exactly. Because I'm okay with it. Like, I don't need another like director's cut. I'm happy with the cut we got. Like, if there's another version, sure, I'm gonna fucking watch it. But like, I don't need it. As opposed to Justice League, right? Which is like, no, this is trash. I want to see what the original director really wanted to do, like, which is a very different scenario, right? But all right. And then the last post credits that we got wasn't really a post credit. It's really a trailer. We got the trailer for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And I don't know. I liked it. I'm excited for it.
That shit is awesome, dude. Like, we're getting the dark Doctor Strange. That movie looks, talk about ambitious. I think that shit might actually trump this shit. Just fuck.
Like, that's actually something that Benedict Cumberbatch said. Like he made some kind of joke about like Tom Holland said something about like, this is the biggest, craziest Marvel film ever, and Benedict said like, well, until my movie comes out, and it's like, oh shit. So I'm like, all right, the stakes are fucking high now.
Facts. But real quick, gentlemen, I have a question for you guys. Just before we rate this whole experience that was in 5D, because it reached us in all dimensions. Top 3 Spider-Man movies. I already know my list on the list.
I know my list.
I'll go first. I'll kick it off. No Way Home, Tobey Maguire Part 2, Spider-Man 2, and the first, The Amazing Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire Part 2. I love people that refer to Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. I've heard that a few times. You seen the first Spider-Man, the one with Peter Parker, and I'm like, oh, you mean Tobey Maguire?
Whoever said that is a fucking moron.
Nah, I know at least 3 people, why? Bro. At least 3.
At least
we know why. We get it.
One of them. Go ahead. Go.
So you said No Way Home. What else? What's number
Spider-Man 2?
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, and The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
All right, mine. As Rod thinks, right? My number 1 film is No Way Home. Fucking the best Spider-Man movie to fucking date, man. I am so happy to be alive. Now, the second for my number 2 Spider-Man film, I'm gonna go with Into the Spider-Verse, because they gave us an incredible Spider-Verse movie, which is now they gave us a live action one. It's like this fucking beautiful. And my number 3 pick is Spider-Man 2. The Tobey Maguire. Obviously Spider-Man 2, not Amazing Spider-Man.
I didn't want to disrespect Into the Spider-Verse, but I just decided to keep it live action.
I wasn't even considering either, but that just took one of the spots for me. All right,
Rod.
For those keeping count, another time when Marvel outdoes DC because they got their multiverse story out first. Because we all know we're gonna see the Batman in.
Oh,
I don't know when the fuck that shit is coming out. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna go with, and this is an organic list, right? It changes.
Of course,
it ebbs and flows.
Mercury,
like
all that
life,
bullshit.
I'm saying, like,
I got Spider-Man number 1.
That's your number 1 film.
No Way Home number 2, and number 3 Into the Spider-Verse. And that's tough, man. It's tough for me not to include Spider-Man 2 in there. But I just like seeing Willem Dafoe again. I don't know, man. It was just fucking amazing. I can't.
No, yeah, because that movie,
I like when they tell when the Peters tell him like, yo, you're an amazing Spider-Man. He's like, thanks, bros.
Yeah, because like that being like the first Spider-Man movie that we got in recent times. Yeah, they probably did some shit in the 70s and shit. Who knows? Like that movie had like almost like Avengers level shock value. Like, oh shit, this movie's crazy. Like when the first Spider-Man came out and Tobey Maguire, and you saw the suit and you saw the web slinging, you were like, oh, what?
Everything.
What is? But
Yo,
yeah,
and what do you guys think about the rumors about, like, we didn't rate, well, you did, you included Amazing Spider-Man in your rating, your top 3 films, but I loved Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I loved it, and then seeing him now back, I'm like, all the reason I'm like, yo, you are like, I believe you're a good Peter Parker. What do you guys think about the rumors that they might make a 3rd film?
Should I hope they do? That'd be dope.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But he has to be a lot older now. Like time has passed. Like Rod said, they could make, or was it you, Meg? I don't remember. But it's like that they can make a movie now, but make one that's deep into that Spider-Man's life now. He's older.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They can make this dude fight, like they can make his dude fight his own Kingpin. There's mad villains that Spider-Man we've never seen before. They could definitely redo the Shocker, who's always been disrespected. We could get a proper Rhino, not that fucking Paul Giamatti exoskeleton Gundam bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Like,
and one thing for the, like, I don't know how this may work in the multiverse shit, but like with Tobey Maguire's Spider Universe, is that I don't know if you guys noticed. I didn't see, because like when we saw Doc Ock at the end show up, save the day, right, and he helped defeat Electro. He took, first of all, at the end he took Electro's arc reactor from him and had it in his hand. And he throughout the film he was excited about Stark Tech. And then when he disappeared, I believe he had the arc reactor in his hand. So will we see what Doc Ock does with Stark technology in his universe? I'm with it. Let's fucking see that shit.
Yeah, because his renewable energy source fucked up.
Right.
No. It's just too much.
But he's from the Maguire verse, though.
Yeah.
Right? He's a Maguire verse. All right, let's rate this some bitch. I give it a 9, raw, straight up.
I'm gonna give it a motherfucking 10.
Woo!
Highest, because even the complaints that we have, obviously,
so it was perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like the issues that we had with it didn't ruin the movie for me at all.
Damn, fair enough.
We're just nitpicky pricks.
No,
I'm gonna go. Damn, this is tough.
Even Spider-Man: No Way Home isn't a 10 to me. That shit is a 9. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's not a 10.
Yo, 10 it is.
It is a 9. 9.
8.5.
What?
Whoa, 8.5.
Yo, you didn't
shocked at 8.5. That shit is high, my dude.
You didn't cry. 8.5. Yo, what is wrong with you?
Damn.
So LoZ average is, we give it a 9.
Facts. Well fucking deserved. Damn. Like, yo, you know what? Oh, fans, by the way, coming next year, we're going to keep keeping track of our fucking scores. So we're going to have some data to compare shit. So, because I was about to say that might be our highest rated shit, but we have no idea. We're figuring this shit out as we go. We don't know what we're doing.
Has anything else blown us away? This is like the best thing we've seen since we started this podcast. Right?
I think you're the best thing I've seen since we started this podcast.
Yes.
Fucking love you, bro.
Yes.
Wait, you saw me before. All right.
You're a 9.
Nah. You got better over time, bro.
10.
No, I'm not gonna
cry.
I was just about to lower your score to a 7.5.
7.5.
You know how to get your rating as a human? You get your own and then your close friends and you average them together. Whether it's looks or your
that's a good
personality.
point.
That's how you get a fair assessment of where you are.
That's pretty dope.
Most people are self-deprecating or modest. And then your friend like loves you, like, yo, man, you fucking 10, bro. And then yours is more modest, like, I'm a 7. 6.5.
So if I rate you a 9 and Miguel a 10, that makes me about a 9.5. Let's go. All right, cool.
All right, sounds good.
That being settled.
No.
No, he means like people's ratings of you.
And then your own averaged.
Well, I mean, I assume that the both of you think I'm a 10, and I think I'm a 10. So that averaged out
claro.
10. So
of course.
once again, Now that we got that settled.
All right, wait. Before we wrap,
Yeah.
top 3 Peter Parkers.
Ooh.
Damn, Peter Parker / Spider-Man. Let's not even get too deep because I'm going to be here for another hour.
Yeah. Facts. Andrew Garfield, Tom
What?
Holland, Peter Maguire.
You see?
I gotta go with Tom Holland. Oh,
Yes.
people are gonna hate me. Tom Holland, no, Toby, and then Andrew.
Yeah, because this last movie almost had you picking Andrew ahead of Toby.
Almost.
Because he did bring it. He did bring it.
He did
more than
bring it,
Toby
man.
did. Toby's a little bit tired. That vegan diet. He needs to be 12.
Yo, he walked in like in the like, oh hey everybody.
And bro,
But he still put on the tight ass suit though, so he's still
shout out
there.
to him,
Yeah.
to fucking Andrew Garfield for that little bit of compressed acting in his face when he did catch MJ. That little bit right there, like you saw, he looked at his face, he almost cried, asked if you're okay. He acted right there in those few seconds, yo. Andrew fucking Garfield.
Man.
He probably has the best acting chops out of all the Peter Parkers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
He has this movie on Netflix right now. I think it's called Zoom or something. It has to do. It's like a musical, I think, or something. It's about the guy that I think wrote the musical Rent, and apparently it's really fucking good. So I might check it out right now during the holiday break. But Andrew, I think he might be the best actor out of the bunch.
Just to wrap up, I'm gonna go Toby, Tom, Andrew.
All right, fair.
All right.
that makes sense.
Hey, all right.
All right, that's a fucking wild ride. Shit. Hopefully, this fucking episode gets as many views and downloads as people that saw No Way Home.
Imagine.
I hope we make $1 billion off this episode.
Woo! Let's do it.
All right, folks. Fucking love you guys. This is Chaz.
Yo, this is Miguel.
This is Rod. Peace.
Peace.